Torah tells us that Hashem had said to Moshe that he wants the Jews to be counted. And when they were counted, every one of the Nisim, the princes of each Shevet, each tribe, was present when his tribe was counted. And the Torah goes to identify the princes of each tribe. So if you take a look at Perek Aleph, Pasuk Tes Zayin, after it enumerates all the princes, the Torah tells us, Ela Kruei Ha'edah. These are those who are called. Whenever anything which has relevance to the community, these people are called because they are the leaders of the Jewish people, each one being the prince of his tribe. Nesi Matus Avosam Roshe Alfei Yisrael. They are the leaders of the thousands of the Jews. Okay? So now if you take a look at the word Kruei, the way it's written with the Yud Kriye. It's read Kruei. They find very often in Torah, not very often, but it's not remote or scarcely found, but you find sufficiently enough times where it's spelled one way and it's read differently. So the spelling is Kriye and the reading is Kruei. This is one of the locations in the Torah, the Vav. Normally, each letter has to be elongated sufficiently. Sometimes we find a large letter, small letter. Here the Vav is called Vav Ketia. It's written slightly shorter than the regular Vav. I mean, what's the difference between a Vav and a Yud? If a Vav is written too short, it looks like a Yud. So the leg has to be elongated to differentiate between a Yud and a Vav. Normally a Vav is pulled down to the bottom to be equal with all the other letters of the word which is written. Over here, the Vav, it's clearly identified as a Vav because it's much longer than a Yud, but it does go all the way down to the bottom. It's called Vav Ketia. Now, why is the Vav shorter? So over here, the reason is, later we read that there was a story with Zimri ben Solu, the story with Zimri and Cosby, where originally Zimri had cohabited with a Midianite princess. And ultimately, because Bilam, when he was commissioned to curse the Jews, he didn't succeed because God would not allow him to curse them. But he said to Balak, who was the king of Moab, he says, one thing the God of the Jews he cannot tolerate and will not tolerate, Soneim shel Yisrael Sodom Zima. Licentiousness he will not tolerate. So what you should do, you take the Midianite women and you have them go out beautified, and they should be seduced. And however, they will not allow them to cohabit with them unless they first worship the Baal Por, which was their idolatry. Zimri, who was the prince of the tribe of Shimon, he led the pack. And this is the story of Pinchas. Pinchas, who was a zealot, he killed Zimri. And because of that, there were very significant amount of casualties. There was a plague, and it was unforgivable. So because Zimri himself, really, he initiated this, because he was the one who stood up to Moshe, and he said to Moshe, is this Midianite woman permitted to me? So he says, no. He says, but you're married to a Midianite woman yourself. You're permitted, and I'm not permitted. And this was the beginning. So because he himself failed so seriously, and he brought such tragedy upon the Jewish people and caused them to sin, therefore, when he's mentioned among the princes, there's a deficiency in the princes. Therefore, the Vav, to indicate this deficiency, the Vav is written shorter. It's a shorter Vav to indicate deficiency. So over here, the Balaturim points out, he says, Vav Ketia, the Kari Krueg, the Vav is shorter, but he says, Bishul Shishlumi about Tsuri Shaddai, Zimri ben Solu. His name was Tsuri ben Shaddai. However, this was Zimri, V'chein Badas Korach. By Das Korach, it's referred to, they're referred to as, it says, Kruei Chosavav. There, the Vav is totally deleted. Why? Shayu Kulam Rishoim. Because over there, all the people, this was the community of Korach, they were all evil. And here, Zimri was the only one. So the vast majority were all tzaddikim. They were devoutly righteous. Zimri was the only one who was the bad one, really the rotten bad apple. Therefore, the Vav is there, except it's shorter to indicate deficiency. By Adas Korach, the Vav is totally deleted because they were all evil, to indicate the totality of the evilness. We find interesting, we find that by the building of the Mishkan, all the Jews were asked to participate to bring the materials. The Nisim, the princes, they themselves were the last ones to bring the materials that were needed. Why? Because they said, let the Jews bring whatever materials are needed, and whatever is lacking, we will bring. But the Jews, they had attended the mitzvah so quickly, before the Nisim, the princes realized everything was brought. The only thing that was lacking were the precious colored stones that were needed for the breastplate of the Kohen Gadol and what he wore on his shoulders. The Avdim Bluim, the Avni Shom Avdim Bluim, the Shom stones and the Avdim Bluim, the stones that went onto the breastplate. Diamonds, they're very precious stones. But yet, when the Torah enumerates the various materials that were brought, the last one to be enumerated, the way they're enumerated in order of value, Zov v'chesef, gold, silver, copper. Metals, that's the order of value. The greatest value is gold, silver, copper. And then it speaks about the others that were needed. Then finally it says, Avni Shom Avni Mluim. So the Orach Chaim HaKadosh asks over there, if we're going in the order of preciousness, it should have started Avni Shom Avni Mluim, the precious stones, gold, silver, copper. But yet it leaves the precious stones for the last. And we find when the Torah speaks about the Nisim bringing what they brought, in the Nisim, the Vav the Yud is deleted. Normally there's a Yud, the Torah deletes the Yud. Why? Because that's to show the deficiency, the shortcoming of the Nisim, because it was due to their back, they were laid back, that's why they delete bringing it. Because they should have initially, if they would have valued the mitzvah sufficiently, they would have brought it immediately, whatever was needed. One doesn't make a calculation, well, whatever's lacking, we'll do. And because they made that calculation, they're nearly left out totally. But it was due to the laziness. Those are words of Chazal. It was due to their atzlus, the laziness. Because if they wouldn't have had that slight tardiness, they would have brought it immediately. But how do we reveal, how does the Torah allude to this shortcoming? The Yud is deleted.